Howdy folks and welcome. I hope everyone is doing well and is comfy because this one is a trip. Today we'll be exploring Psychonauts, a cult classic platforming adventure game. Psychonauts was developed and published by Double Fine Productions. It has garnered a cult following and with good reason. Everything about this game is detailed. From the fantastic witty dialogue to the visuals of the inner mind, Psychonauts undoubtedly is one of the most well-rounded games I've ever played. Now, I somehow played this game, I believe, when I was 11. This is another game where I'm questioning my parents' judgment. I distinctly remember where I stopped, but I couldn't remember why. And oh boy, we'll find out later in the video. Psychonauts deals with a lot of discussions and visuals about mental health and issues surrounding that topic. If that's not your jam or you feel uncomfortable, I completely understand. I will say the writers do an excellent job at addressing these issues, but there were times that I even was taken aback, so your discretion is advised. Psychonauts starts off running. We get a cutscene setting up the whole premise of the camp, beautifully narrated by the coach.
From this day forward, you are all psychic soldiers, paranormal paratroopers, mental marines who are about to ship out on the adventure of their lives. This is our beachhead, and this is your landing craft. You shall engage the enemy in his own mentality. You shall chase his dreams. You shall fight his demons. You shall live his nightmares. And those of you who fight well, you will find yourselves on the path to becoming international secret agents. In other words, Psychonauts. The rest of you will die.
Not only does this give a great insight into the world, but the voice acting in the character is perfect. We also get to meet some of the supporting cast. It really feels like an old Nickelodeon show. The banter between the campers is hilarious.
Don't worry about old Coach Oleander. I've been coming here for years, and trust me, nothing ever happens.
Yeah, Dogan, Lily's right. You don't got nothing to worry about. Except for that giant monster in the lake I was telling you about.
Bobby Zilch, I told you to stop scaring people with that ridiculous old legend. I don't want the...
Our protagonist shows up and we're introduced to Raz. I enjoyed how much the teachers can't get into his head, which shows the player that Raz is already capable of psychic powers compared to the teachers. We are introduced into this surrealist humor aspect of the game, which plays a huge part in the storytelling and the design of the levels. Not only do the characters look like a Picasso painting, but the premise is also wild. I love how Sasha says to Raz that this is some secret military base. It's delivered so seriously, but had me in stitches. If I played all the amazing cutscenes, I think we would be here all day, so I'll try my best at getting to the best parts. I am already highly recommending you play this game if you haven't. Anyways, Raz is accepted into the camp before his father can pick him up. You can already sense that Raz fears his father, and I like how they set this up from the beginning. Raz is running away, and he is looking to make a difference. He truly wants to grow up and be his own person. The game begins and you're thrust into the world. I really enjoyed being able to explore the camp. There were numerous collectibles that you could search out for, and so many characters to talk to. Interestingly, it made me feel like I was in an RPG game. There's a ranking up system for more spells and some items that you can buy in the shop. We see Dogan confronted by squirrels. It really had me thinking of Rick and Morty. Now, I never got 100% comfortable with the controls, so as I was leaving, I accidentally kicked a squirrel. Did I just blow that squirrel up? The world is bringing you in with solid story elements and an insanely funny and quirky humor. We ascend up to the treehouse for basic training. I love the bullies in this game. There are some great lines and the voice actors nail the charisma of a 7th grade bully.
Heads for this week's protection service.
Cough it up, my loser, or you'll be coughing up bloody tears. Hey, leave him alone.
I heard a rumor that you were raised in the circus.
We approach Coach Oleander, who always has these classic general lines.
To take my course, I will have to pull you into my mind. You will have to relive every bullet-scarred memory of every battle I have ever faced. It won't be pretty. Are you sure you wouldn't rather run around a bit more in the sunshine first?
Remember how he acts on the outside compared to what we see inside. The way the game depicts going into someone's mind is really interesting. Using doors as gateways makes sense, and I like how each door was unique to the person. This is one of the best tutorial levels I've ever played. As much as this is a game, it's also kind of a movie, and I say that with all good vibes. The tutorial sets up not only gameplay mechanics, but a slew of characters and interesting hints of where the story is going to progress. Having Coach Oleander ask to slap him to teach us the punch, and that's what gets the player into the level, is great design. We encounter our first mental baggage as well. Mental baggage is in each mind, and you'll be able to unlock them by finding their tags. Even though they were collectibles, it did make me feel happy that I was helping whoever's mind deal with the things that were locked up. The vaults are also a great concept, and for later levels give a lot of emotional resonance to the characters you're interacting with. As we progressed through the level, I was astonished by the amount of detail and changes that were happening. If you like any sort of 3D platformer, you'll enjoy this gameplay. Even at the start with almost no psychic powers, the pure platforming was engaging and fun. We finish the race first and get to the podium with no one to be found. Looking around, Raz finds an open door to presumably the coach's inner mind. Again, the visual representations are so spot on. The coach is obviously hiding an idea, a blueprint if you will, and the way the coach depicts that idea compared to everything else is a stark difference. The coach catches you and gives you your first badge. It had me feeling like I was in Pokemon. Bobby Zelch isn't too happy, and I'm glad Raz can stand up for himself. Raz as a character is interesting. Even though he gets main character treatment, there are a lot of facets to Raz that we get to explore as the story progresses. Sasha 9 comes to see us and invites us to his secret lab. We get access now to the whole camp, which is pretty substantial. Being able to interact with all the campers made me feel closer to the game within the first hour of playing. Each side camper has such a distinct personality.
This dumb, right? The camp's built on an Indian burial ground and...
Oh my gosh! Indians buried their dead here?
Ew! I hope not. No, stupid. They buried their arrowheads here.
Raz stumbles upon the next area, and we head over to the geodesic isolation chamber. One thing about this game is the audio. I don't know about you, but hearing people cry is a little bit jarring, and this game has a lot of that with the emotional baggage.
When will you peek into the hole, my heart?
At certain points, it was sensory overload. After saving one of the campers from a devilish prank, we find the secret lab of Sasha 9. I like the Escher-style stairs, and the simplicity of the lab is understandable after going into Sasha's mind. We approach the brain tumbler. This device sends us into our own psyche, but it also functions as a pseudo-hub world for the levels within the game. Kind of reminded me of Demon Souls. Here's when things get really trippy. Raz goes within his own mind and sees only his childhood caravan, but something is not right. Raz emerges from an egg and we're greeted by a bunny, which apparently is a primal fear. Sasha tells us to follow the bunny and off we go into our own mind? I know I've said it a couple of times before, but look at the change of scenery compared to the first level. The art team did such an amazing job at distinguishing each person's psyche and playing around with the distortions of said psyche. Raz stumbles upon some shadowy giant and we're scottied away before anything bad happens. The setup is real, and every bit is working right now. We have to go see Agent Cruller, and we discover Gladys.
Underground rapid transit system. Would you like to go back to your private sanctuary now, Agent Cruller? Or somewhere else?
Oh boy, this was hilarious. The computer's voice had me cracking up. Raz ends up at Cruller's lab, and this was really cool. I liked all the gizmos and gadgets. Raz recognizes Cruller being the Psychonauts leader. Even though Cruller is powerful, he has also lost his mind, and relies on a special rock to keep him somewhat sane. After receiving the badge from Cruller, we head back to Sasha's lab. Before we enter, Sasha makes a remark somewhat around the lines of, "You'll see an organized mind." This was an interesting way of looking at what Sasha's character believes as controlled. And we soon find out later that any mind is not 100% controllable. Again, a simple tutorial is not just simple, it's sprinkled with character details. We're also introduced to one of the enemies of the game, the Censor. Sasha explains it like this.
An integral part of any sane person's mind. The sensors roam through your psyche, looking for thoughts that don't belong. Hallucinations, manias, waking dreams. The sensors hunt them down and censor them out.
Why do they come after me? I'm not a mania.
Yes, but you are a foreign entity in my mind. You technically don't belong here.
Yes, but I was attacked in my own head.
Yes, well, the brain tumbler could be malfunctioning, or you could be insane. We'll test for that later.
Raz, of course, is curious and wonders if he could speed up the process, and lo and behold, it creates some shenanigans. I felt like I was in a Nintendo game with this level design. Every detail from platform to object tells a story. As much as Sasha wants to control everything, we're seeing firsthand that those feelings of shame and sadness are always there if you don't deal with them. Somehow Psychonauts pulls off this duality of charming young adult game and a game that has serious discussions on mental health. We finally close off all the valves and the mother of all sensors shows up. For the first boss battle, I was really happy how they pulled this off. Even though it was easy, going around the Rubik's Cube mind was a great spectacle. Psychonauts has a leveling system which they call ranking. After finding fragments in people's minds or finding items, you'll rank up. At certain ranks, you'll get access to different spells. After Sasha's mind, we get pyrokinesis. Yet the game doesn't just give you it, it's another little story tied to an ability. We get a little insight into the mind of Raz, who even though acts tough, is very young and has a lot of things he's working on. Anyways, we go back to what we think is our mind, but there are a lot of things that are off. We even find a vault that confirms that something wrong is happening. We get our first look at Lobato, an insane villain. We see Dogen somehow has been captured by this evil dentist, and his brain is in danger. Unfortunately, we cannot reach Dogen without levitation, so we're tasked with finding Mia and getting our levitation badge. Raz heads down to the docks and we get some great dialogue with one of the campers, and it sets up another story point of Raz being afraid of water.
No. Well, yes. My family has this problem with water. It's a bunch of hooey anyway. Some old gypsy curse about how we're all supposed to die in water. If you can believe that.
Oh! I thought it was about the whole thing with the brain-eating fish that walks out of the lake at night to hunt for victims. Well, see ya!
And then, Dogen? Something nefarious is going on. I couldn't stop laughing when Raz looks through Dogen's head ear through ear. The game's comedy is pure gold. Before attending the levitation class, we talk with Lily again, and she mentions that she has been having the same dream as Raz, and goes to investigate. For Raz, it's time to party. The music is fantastic in this level, and Agent Bordello is charming. I really enjoyed the way levitating felt in the game. Not only the bouncing physics, but the ability to make a balloon gave a lot of depth to the platforming. Now, the platforming is not perfect. There were moments where I almost threw my keyboard because of the fact that some edges auto-grab and some don't. The most egregious area being in the finale, so I won't gripe about it too much now. I enjoyed Mia's vault too. She works with Sasha professionally, but you get the sense that she wants something more, which was sweet. The level also had a race in it, which felt like I was back in SSX Tricky. It was a lot of fun, and I'm glad they added this randomly, because it fits so well into the atmosphere. We bounce our way through the level and grab our Levitation badge. Now that we have our badge, we're ready to rescue Dogen, but Sasha informs us that it's not possible. He confirms there is some interference happening and that someone else's mind is sort of being spliced into our own, and a later vault confirms that. Raz does make the point that sending him in to investigate would be a good plan, and as any good teacher would, Sasha immediately accepts. We make our way back into the grotesque tower and levitate our way up. Dogen gets peppered and sneezes out his brain. Again, I was crying laughing, and the TV thing now is such a reefer madness moment that I so much appreciated. We follow Dogen's brain down a garbage chute and end up in some blueprint prison. This looks oddly familiar. Lobato looks to be making some sort of brain machine, and we enter the boss arena. This was an okay boss, simple in design, yet the arena being a blueprint was a neat touch. Another interesting thing about this game is that the bosses usually have 2 or 3 phases, which at times felt like Dark Souls to me. I had to learn attack patterns. Anyways, after defeating the brain, we're sent out of the blueprint to an all but unfamiliar place, Coach Oleander's mind. But as suddenly as we make the discovery, Sasha pulls us out and exclaims that there's urgent Psychonauts business he must attend to, and scurries out before Raz has time to explain what he's found. Sasha does leave us a little present, the door to other people's or creatures' minds. Cruller explains to us why we've been seeing bunnies and meat, and is worried about Lily at the waterfront. We zoom over and find Bobby brainless. I did laugh when he still has enough in him to hit you. Maybe that's just who he is. Lily has figured out that the coach has been broadcasting his thoughts in his sleep to everyone in camp, and he's been the one kidnapping children. This scene is a great sliver of the campiness and aura the game exudes. I can't really explain it, but just the way Lily is thrilled about the prospect of taking down a real psychic villain resonated with me. The Lungfish makes their appearance and Lily is taken into the deep. Even though Raz is afraid of water, he still manages to find a way to reach the bottom of the ocean. We take a bathysphere, and I was half expecting a Skyrim moment into Bioshock. Anyways, we start our next boss fight. With bosses from the Lungfish on, I had some small complaints about. The game doesn't really do a great job at showing you where the weak spots of an enemy are. I'll be more apparent with later bosses, but for example, battling the Lungfish, there was no indicator of using the clams to snatch its grabber. I would have thought they would have alluded to that earlier in the level, like platforming instance where you had to use the exact same mechanic. Anyways, the Lungfish has 3 phases, the first being the interesting back and forth. The Lungfish will spit out air and items periodically. When you hit it with your Psyblast, he'll pull the items back, giving you time to break some nails. I like how you had to keep the area big enough so you'd survive, but also deal enough damage so it wouldn't take forever. The next phase, you're running away trying to stay within the air bubble. I don't know if it was the constraints of time, but it was confusing not really knowing where to go. I did understand halfway through that the camera sort of led you in the right direction. This definitely varied things up. The third phase, you have to use the clams to snatch the Lungfish grabber. Luckily, it only takes you 3 clams to finish the fight, and having battled the fish for 20 minutes before having to look up the mechanic, I was happy to be done. And another reason was I knew what level was coming up next. This might be one of my favorite levels ever in games. We find out what the Lungfish kind of is, and Cruller insists we use the door on the fish. Welcome to Lungfishopolis. This is probably the most I've laughed playing a game in years. There are so many hilarious jokes that I don't think I can fit them in. If you don't play this game, watch a playthrough of this level. It's very much worth it.
Top of the morning to you, ma'am.
And good day to you, Officer Lungfish. How are you today?
Oh, damp and happy, can't complain. And what are you and the wee one up to on this lovely day?
Oh, just obeying the law as always. All posted directives followed to the letter.
Ah, good to hear. Not a one of us want any trouble, that's for sure.
Oh, Gagalo!
You end up helping a resistance of lungfish that are trying to break their fellow allies out of prison and stage an uprising. This was such a great way to frame the actual lungfish being surgically worked on and mutilated. His mind is trying to fight back, and a chip not only broadcasts propaganda, but also has built a mental military. It's just pure genius. The resistance gives us our shield badge, and we are set to play our Godzilla cosplay simulator. It was so funny hearing the broadcaster talk about the atrocities that Gagalore is perpetrating and always hinting at the true intentions of the chip.
Citizens have named Gagalore. The Navy has responded quickly and decisively, dispatching its entire tank division to neutralize the creature. Soon, authorities say, everything will return to normal or better. Kidnapping human children is good.
I really couldn't stop laughing as I stomped around the Fishopolis. Funnily enough, one of the lines in the level was one of the reasons why the game got a T rating.
Well, things have gotten a little embarrassing for Gagalore. Recently surfaced information has strongly linked the previously intimidating monster with common low-life criminals. Earlier tonight, Gagalore broke some of his jailhouse cronies out of the slammer so they could enjoy a night on the town, popping pills and soliciting inexpensive call girls. Well,
even though there's a lot more messed up stuff that warrants that, this was pretty funny. After breaking the resistance leader out of jail, we use our new blimp to jump above the dam and rain chaos to the surrounding area. I kind of felt bad. I was destroying the mind of the lungfish. We finally make it to the broadcast tower and Kojamura intercepts us. This was an okay battle. The coach's attacks were easily defended or dodged. We ascend the tower and destroy it. Gagalore is now supreme. We meet the true lungfish.
Yes.
Oh.
The creature whose spirit was once enslaved by the evil one. You have unchained my soul, and now I shall repay you, powerful human child.
Oh, great. Well, okay. Show me what you did to my friend Lily.
By the drowned spirit of Oblongata, it is done. You may call me now by my true name, Rasputin. The name given to me by my people.
And what name is that, noble lake creature?
Linda.
What a magical lady.
I love this kind of stuff. Linda takes us to our next area, the asylum. Now, I will say the pacing up to this point was fantastic, but I guess I didn't pick up enough fragments or arrowheads because the area is locked behind a couple of these things, rank 30 for the next spell, and the cobweb duster. It wasn't hard to find all these things, but it did take a little bit of time. Anyways, once we had all these things, we meet the guard. This is when I think the game changes. It becomes the true vision I think the creators had in mind.
We're treaty with those eggheads in their ivory tower. Because they want the lap belt, man.
Things go off the rails in a way that I was not expecting. The asylum is filled with people dealing with severe mental issues, from schizophrenia to depression. We use the mind door on the guard and are welcomed to one of the most insane things I've seen in a game. This is a person's mind, and it's horrifying. Obviously, the guard is internally ill, but some of the things he is mouthing off are eerily similar to conspiracy theories that are prevalent today.
Almost complete. Just a few missing pieces.
Yes, now, which piece talks about the Milkman? The one who opens the asylum gate?
But it's all about the Milkman. Can't you see?
Is this like one of those 3D paintings? I can never do those.
No, you just gotta learn to see it like I see it. There's something in the fridge that might help you see the world like I do.
Ooh, sorry. I don't drink. Before noon, I mean.
And this game was made in 2005. I believe they also had different voice lines that were randomly spliced together. I got some really funny combinations.
Exactly what? Nobody knows! And let's just say for now that they made a deal back in '68 with the squirrels. Yeah. Someone has to get this information to the people. Shut up! Wait. Hi, Mom. Look at me. I'm tangled in a web of deception. How's Uncle G?
Anyways, the guard gives us our next spell, where we can see through people's eyes. This was an interesting way of introducing this psychic power, especially being able to see what the guard is seeing. We're informed of the Milkman and him having the key to the asylum. Raz ponders if he could find the Milkman, and he might be able to save Lily. We exit the house and meet some of the odd characters in the guard's mind. Something is not right. It feels like we're in a cartoon version of 1984. For as amazing as a design this is, compared to the other minds we've been in, it's much more fractured and has a melancholy feeling. The agents are everywhere, which is a great touch, and I loved all their little lines.
What is the purpose of the goggles? Who do you think you're fooling? Who is the Milkman? What did the rainbow squirt tell you? Where did you get the red sign?
The guard's thoughts on what assassins are, or simple jobs like trimming the hedges, is really funny. There were a couple of tasks here that had me looking up things. I might have been able to find these organically, but there were moments where I had just no idea where to go. The trail to the Milkman is getting hotter. After we get a plunger, we get taken to hell. I really had no idea what this monster was supposed to be, and it had the trope of not explaining the mechanic before the boss fight. There is an audio prompt, but for the first 2 times I tried, it never happened. So I assumed you destroyed the little guys, not that you had to throw them in the monster's mouth. Telekinesis definitely wasn't the best feeling psychic spell. The fact that you have to use it so many times made it a little bit annoying. We finally defeat the monster and get access to the next lead, the sewers. We cross the assassin's kill zone and walk up the stairs to find one of the Girl Scouts. Maybe she knows something about the Milkman.
Don't come any closer. I'll never tell you the location of the Milkman. Never!
Okay, let's all just settle down and talk.
Ah!
What is the mission of the Milkman?
Come closer. And I'll tell you.
Okay, did she just blow herself up with an IED? Yeah, it ramps up from here. We clairvoyant a helicopter and discover the Milkman is being held in some floating building far away. Again, we're sucked into hell, but this time I know what I'm doing. After defeating the boss again, we sneak our way into the house and discover...
Oh, hello there. Have you come to pay for your rainbow treats? We knew you would. Won't you join us in our Rainbow Squirt Pledge of Purpose?
To promote niceness, to make the world prettier, to share candy with everyone, to obfuscate the true nature of the Milkman, to protect the Milkman at all costs. All who would harm the Milkman or threaten to reveal his secret objective.
Go, girls! Protect the milk! Do not follow! The milk is not ready, and you are not ready for the milk!
What is going on? I couldn't stop laughing. It just hit so many points. This boss battle against the protector of the Milkman was not so much fun. Again, using telekinesis for myself wasn't interesting or engaging. I did enjoy how the Milkman was encased in a refrigerated coffin. After defeating the lady, I think I just caused the second coming.
Have you done? He wakes!
I am the Milkman. My milk is delicious.
And the sea shall run white with his rage.
I am the Milkman. My milk is delicious. Special delivery today. I am the Milkman. My milk is delicious.
Boyd? Are you okay?
Time for the final delivery to this address.
Hey, is that milk regular kind? Or the exploding dream kind?
It's fortified with what the world wants. What the world deserves.
Are you sure you don't want to just talk about this, Boyd?
Okay, this and Fishopolis are probably some of the funniest levels in gaming. I just can't get over how outrageous and surreal the humor gets in this game. I did not understand half the jokes when I first played, and now being an adult, I found so much admiration in the writer's choices and dialogue. So, after unlocking Boyd's inner conscious of the Milkman, he lets us inside the asylum. I enjoyed this area, and the people you meet are all well written and tragic. There's Fred Bonaparte, Gloria von Guten, Edgar Tegley, with Crispin as the orderly from the asylum. Each of these tragic characters are stuck metaphorically or physically on the island, all of them dealing with personal issues. Fred is battling a control for his mind, Gloria cannot bring her inner muse out, and Edgar cannot forget his past. All of these things are experiences everyone goes through, and I was glad the game gives you the chance to help these people. Each of these characters have such immensely different levels and mechanics, I was really impressed. Especially everything before felt so polished I was not expecting 4 unique levels. I'll first start with Fred. This was great because his mind reminded me of some Catan or Civilization game. Now all these people were institutionalized at some point. You get to see some of their past, more than others. And from Fred's vault, we understand that Crispin the Orderly was a bit abusive to him while playing this game. Crispin won so many times that it drove Fred even more mad, and caused the self-doubt to rip into his psyche. You have to play the game for Fred against Napoleon. This was a good character and outlines what Fred's innermost fears are, like losing his family's reputation or not being good enough. His mind is losing to Napoleon because, quite honestly, at least Napoleon has energy. Fred is sort of aloof and doesn't really care what happens anymore. After recruiting soldiers and farmhands for Fred's army in various ways, you finally defeat Napoleon. I was really happy about this outcome, and seeing the difference was pretty staggering.
Really gone? Hello? Hello? Anyone else in here? Ha! We did it, Raz! I'm all me again. One person, not French. Get me out of this dang jacket so I can go strangle me an orderly.
Hey, good thinking, Fred. That sure would save me a lot of work.
Yep! Right after I take a nap.
Yes, what? Nap?
War is hell, Rasputin, and I'm sleepy.
Even though we don't get too much of Fred dialogue since he falls asleep. The next mine we go into is Gloria's. This was a cool premise being a stage. You learn throughout the level about Gloria's upbringing and the ordeals she went through as an early child. The play is cursed by a phantom, destroying props and sets, and the main star can't perform because she's crying too much. All of this is an allegory for Gloria's life. The critic within her grew so big because of all the horrible things she experienced as a kid, like abandonment by her mother. It truly suffocated her inner child, or as the play describes it, her inner sunlight. I really enjoyed the mechanic of using the Greco-Roman masks to change the play's mood, thus changing what's on stage and changing the sets. Even though I got kind of confused on which set and mood to use, I finally got there. Catching the Phantom was fun, and I really enjoyed the set design.
No, treacherous child, you shall pay for angering.
Yeah, whatever. Now just stay put so I can come punch and unmask you.
Gloria's vault also gives a grim look into her past, showing us that as an adult, her mother took her own life. The different plays explain how Gloria's mother abandoned her at a children's home, but then Gloria did get famous, and with all that fame, she rejected her mother forthwith. I was not expecting this level of engagement with these topics. It never felt heavy-handed, it always felt like the game understood when and where to use these points for full effect. Finally, you catch up to the Phantom, and lo and behold, it's the Critic! Who would have guessed? It's an okay boss fight. I guess you could say you're bringing light to the darkness inside Gloria, if you want to be analytical, but I just think it's just the inner Critic boss. It has a sweet ending, and I'm glad she found the spirit of her youth. Now the theater house is one of those places where I had to turn the sound down. The sad mood lighting makes the flying crows into some psionic resonator, and honestly, it was driving me crazy. Anyways, the next level is Edgar, and he has a little bit of a temper inside of him. Edgar is obsessed with the matador and the bull, which doesn't make sense until we go inside his mind. Edgar is literally building a house of cards. I love this visual, and his love is trapped above them. There's also El Onio, sorry for my butchering of the name, a powerful bull that seems to be everywhere in Edgar's mind. We're tasked with finding all the queen cards so Edgar can finally reach his beloved. I really enjoyed this area. I thought the bull was a neat obstacle, and I liked the dog painters. To get all the queen cards, you have to defeat 4 luchadors. When exploring Edgar's mind, we start discovering what has been ailing him deep inside this whole time. Something about high school wrestling? I know it sounds silly, and maybe it's played up to be that, but having those things from so long ago still affect you is a real thing people experience. Hopefully we're able to help Edgar out. After winning against all of the luchadors, we finally are able to climb up the tower and are confronted by the matador and Edgar's so-called love. It turns out Edgar is the bull, and his rage and anger about the past with these two has never been resolved. It's interesting how his interpretation of this woman says that he traps her. I think it insinuates that the mind can take an idea or hold onto a notion so long that it's the only thing that's keeping it there. Letting go of something that you feel wronged about is really hard, but really useful. Anyways, Raz takes down Edgar with another telekinesis battle. The second phase is decent though, where the matador does come down to finish off Edgar. I really felt horrible seeing him whack Edgar like that. I was glad to figure out I had to stick him using the confuse bombs that you get from him previously. This was a solid ending to the level, and I really enjoyed the joy you could see in Edgar after freeing him from his demons.
No bull?
You make light of my mental problems, and still, I have no rage. Amazing!
All of these characters give us items that, when put together, fools the orderly into thinking we're Dr. Loboto. I felt like I was playing Pajama Sam.
Favorite jacket, if I may say so. Your claw is looking especially menacing today. Up to the secret laboratory then, is it? Taking her up yourself this time, eh, Doctor? Less work for me.
We go up the elevator and explore the asylum's upper levels. We see this person or thing popping out, leading us through the tower. We are also able to find our fellow campers' brains, which have some funny commentary by Raz.
I thought it would be smaller.
Raz finally meets the person that's been leading us, and they warn us about going up further.
We're very sorry!
Obviously, we're not going to listen, and we head upstairs. We find Dr. Lobato's lab and see more of his insane ways. Where did the coach find this guy? We confront Shigor and we find out she is willing to help, in a way. She tells us that she knows her pet turtle has a plan, if only you could get him out of his gerbil contraption. Raz also finds Sasha and Mia as well as Lily. We lure the turtle to the opening by dangling a cake in front of him. I don't know why, but it was pretty funny. And to my surprise, the turtle does talk.
I was so scared. Now you're back, Mr. Pokilo, and you'll tell us what to do. Right? You've got a plan or something, right, Mr. Pokilo? Right?
That's right, baby. Daddy's here. Everything's gonna be all right. Now here's what we're gonna do.
Oh my god, this game is so good. After putting the turtle's mind into the war robot, we free everyone and give Shigor a bit of a shout out. Sasha offering her a job was a great touch. Coach Oleander reveals himself in the teacher's duel. This cutscene has one of the best payoffs, and I really enjoyed everything coming together.
Hey, Boyd! Long time no see!
Oh, Mr. Orderly, I did not see you there. I was just taking a little therapeutic walk in the moonlight.
Relax, the asylum's closed. We can all go home.
Leave? Here?
Yeah, this place is for crazy people. And I don't know about you, but I ain't crazy no more.
I have to tell you, I'm feeling pretty good.
You know, maybe it is time for us all to move on.
What do you think, Boyd? You ready to blow this popsicle stand?
The Milkman has completed his route. You guys want to split a cab?
We start Oleander's boss fight. Again, telekinesis. I won't say it's bad, but it's not just as engaging as I wish it could be. We get past his defenses, but after defeating the brain, we get peppered ourselves and lose our brain. The only way to save ourselves is to combine our brain with Oleander's. This was a great change of pace and also opens up the door to the surrealist hell. These two psyches that are intertwined should not happen. Because Oleander is defeated, you're seeing his inner child, and oh boy, you're going to understand why he is the way he is. Because of the two minds combining, you get some grotesque creations. Now I understand why I stopped playing at this point as a kid. This stuff is scary and really jarring. The meat grinding machines making bunnies made me think I was in some Dark Souls Silent Hill spinoff. It also doesn't help that this part has the worst platforming of the game. Little Oleander, or Little Ollie, keeps going up platforms, and some of the jumps you're supposed to make take a couple of tries. It doesn't help that when you're doing all these acrobatics, you're hearing young Ollie screaming and tears of some unopened emotional baggage.
Hey, that hurts! Help! Hey, that hurts!
This was weirdly hard to take, and some ghost keeps talking to you. We finally make it to the top and find another vault of Oleander's. It's really quite sad seeing how happy he was in his childhood with bunnies and how his father butchered them. This was a really great moment because it made me think about all the bunnies in our dream and in Coach Oleander's first tutorial mission. We platform like we were in Ratchet and Clank and end up in the circus tent with Ollie's dad. This fight has the same problem as the Lungfish. They do not tell you where to hit. He does a move that keeps him in the ground, but nothing indicates to the player having to jump all the way to his head and slap it. We end up beating Ollie's dad only to be thrown into the circus ring, and look who shows up.
What's going on here? What have you done to our circus?
Dad!
Polluted. Perverted. This looks like the work of mentalists.
I can explain.
Have you been associating with psychics?
Seeing Raz's depiction of his father is scary. You don't know anything about his father other than Raz's dialogue and the fears that he inherits. This was another hard platforming part, and I died a lot in the water. I never got used to seeing the meat as platforms either. I swear to God, I felt like I was losing my mind like in Amnesia. We get back to the boss arena and face both fathers. Oh great. Luckily, this was the easiest portion of the fight. As Ollie's father falls back, the ghostly vision appears and it turns out to be our real father. This was a great moment, but kind of confusing. From what we just witnessed, I thought Raz's father would be insane or kind of like Ollie's dad, but he is truly caring, and when he sees how his son views him internally, he's truly taken aback.
Brain, and who are all these unconscious people? What have you gotten yourself involved with?
Psychics. He's been cavorting with filthy, cheating psychics.
Is that really how I look in your mind?
I don't understand though, because he exclaims he doesn't hate psychics, he just wanted Raz to be safe. But for Raz to have such an internalized view of his father like this, I don't know, I feel like I'm missing something here. Anyway, geez Louise, what a game. We fight against the the fathers. This was just another grotesque boss design, and I love it. You do not see reused assets in this game that often, and all the detail, no matter how good or bad the actual mechanics are, kept me engaged the whole time. We defeat the evil fathers and get back to our own mind. No more bunnies. Coach Oleander leads us out with a great conclusion, and Raz joins the Psychonauts.
We endeavor to build strong minds here, with the power to lift things, to see things, to burn things. But it's a special quality of your heart, not your mind, that truly makes a great Psychonaut. This young man has it. We did not give it to him. He got it from someone else, long before he came here. But we can give him this, to honor his mind, his courage, and his heart. Son, we do not normally ask this of someone so young, but it is obvious to us all that you are not average. Will you join us, Rasputin? Will you be a Psychonaut?
You could tell they wanted to make a franchise out of this. They did, but it did take 16 years. Anyways, there are still some great laughs at the end.
Children, it's an emergency. There's been another kidnapping.
I was here the whole time. You saw me.
No, this time we know who it is, and that's what scares us.
Who was kidnapped?
Truman Zanotto, the grand head of the Psychonauts.
Dad!
Sir.
I was really glad to see we had some closure with Raz's dad and Raz himself. It was nice to see the dad acknowledge his son was ready to take his own path.
I've taught you everything I can, son. Now, you go show them. Show them all.
Let's go.
Wow. All in all, I absolutely loved playing Psychonauts in the year 2024. This game has so much love put into it, and it flowed almost perfectly. From the insane surreal comedy to the varied and gorgeous visual design, Psychonauts was a true pleasure to play. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you taking the time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any or all of those truly help a ton. And as always, see you next time.